Hello, and welcome to From the Inside Out with Ashley, where we are dedicated to empowering you with the knowledge and tools to feel your best on the inside so you can shine on the outside. And again, thank you everybody so much for subscribing. If you like what we talk about today, just go down and like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications of the next episode launching. Today I am so excited to have our sponsor of our podcast on here. And so let me put that up here so y'all can see where to find out more, nidanawellness.com. Today I'm going to be talking to the founder and CEO of Nidana Wellness, Seth Back. He's a holistic health practitioner, did some healing for himself. We're going to find out all about that. But if you're interested in finding the root cause of disease and dysfunction in your body, and looking at healing from a foundational medicine approach, if you or your loved ones haven't been able to find the answers using a traditional approach or are looking for a more holistic approach to your healthcare, then visit the website today. You can do a free discovery call and find out more about it. The website's there, and then we'll also have it in the episode description too. So I'm so excited today to be able to talk to Seth and find out all about his journey. So we're just gonna have a little conversation here to find out about how you got here and what caused you to get into root cause medicine. So first, can you explain what the root cause approach is? Because most everybody's used to the traditional approach to dysfunction in the body, disease, and how does it differ from conventional medicine?
Well, I would say that basically it's asking the question why. So if we're having symptoms, then the best approach would be to dig as deep as possible to find the core factors of exactly what could be causing those symptoms or why we're not feeling our best, right? And so there's a few different factors that could be causing that. And as we dive into this world from a holistic approach, we start to realize that those factors often have to do with our lifestyle, different things that we're thinking, feeling, eating, sharing, practicing. So that has an accumulating effect over time. And with focusing on more of the why and not so much the different processes of like taking different medications to mask symptoms or to relieve symptoms, but digging a little deeper to actually figure out what caused those symptoms in the first place. And typically, if those are identified and removed, then the body will go back to its healthy state of feeling fine. And that oftentimes has to do with just the years of congestion or us being exposed to maybe some toxic chemicals or heavy metals, which can really affect the way our cells function. So by identifying those type of issues and removing them, then we go back to a healthy body.
I love that. So we got two extremes here because I've got my my hat on today because we've freezing weather in Texas, and of course you have this beautiful background behind you. He's in Costa Rica in the warm tropical weather, sweating, and I'm freezing here.
I
So
am super happy to be here, and I want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to chat today.
yeah. So, what inspired you to pursue a career? I know Costa Rica has its background with you. That's why I wanted to. I'm so glad it's perfect timing that you're in Costa Rica when we're doing this interview. But what inspired you to, start on a holistic health journey and start helping people with that? What was your personal journey that influenced all of
hmm
this?
So at the time that this is about probably 15 years ago, I was really sick. Was in a different career, and I did lots of different conventional testing. I had some severe inflammation, brain fog, weakness, a lot of pain in my back, and did lots of different testing. It was all coming back normal, and I just really couldn't find those answers that I was looking for to explain to me why I was feeling this way. So one night, I kind of remember this. It was actually really cold in Stinnett, Texas. I just started to pray that I believe there's some information out there that just hasn't reached the masses, and that there was a way to identify what was happening with myself and a process that could make me feel better. And just about an hour after that, a door opened. I found this book called Colon Health by Dr. Norman Walker. Of course, we share that with all of our clients and many people that we come in contact with today. That began introducing the fact that our colon is related to all the different parts of our body, and it's probably one of the most important organs, especially when it comes to elimination. And in there, he talks about the practice of cleaning the colon, washing the colon. And so I did go on the journey to do that. At first, I did it in the actual hotel room I was staying in through the process of a water enema, and received a lot of relief from that session. So based on the book's suggestion, I decided to do in book 6 colonics. The first 2 colonics, really only water came out. So if I hadn't have read this book, I might have thought, oh, my colon's clean, and stop there. But I was committed to doing at least 6, because that was the suggestion that Dr. Walker had made. The third session, I would say, like, hard fecal matter began to be released, and on the fourth session, I passed a nest of worms, and immediately the pain in my back went away. So 100%, I did have parasites, even though the conventional testing said I was negative, and that was also related to specifically that back pain that I was having. And so that really got me to go on a deeper journey to find out more about other testing that was possible in different diagnostics, whether it's using ancient technology or modern technology like we often use today, to discover these, like we're talking, root cause factors, these core factors to disease. And that led me to Costa Rica, which happens to kind of be like a mecca for healing. And this place has a really magical vibration, but it also gave me time to reset and begin to analyze some of the factors that I was processing, I guess, over my life at that time.
That's great. Yeah. There's always a personal journey. And so that's how Nidana Wellness was born, right?
Yes, I mean, that's the short version,
That's a
but
short version of it. Yeah.
the process that took place from there, right? And it's a continual process. So I feel like this probably never stops. But
Yeah.
I began seeking other forms and attracting other forms of ways to heal,
Hmm.
probably a lot of the times outside the box. So, like you said, taking these deep journeys, whether it's within ourselves, analyzing, and I would say too, that process is not linear. It's up, down, backwards, does circles. It looks strange, I guess, to some people at times, but I think that in the end of it, we do find probably a different version of ourselves as we continue to work on ourselves. And that's really some of the work that took place here, but also that's continuing there in Texas as we've started that journey as well.
Yeah. Love it. So what would you say are some common root causes that you've encountered with clients? How do they manifest, like, in the clients, some of the root causes? Well,
So the process, I guess I can say, that led to the birth of Nidana Wellness was during the education portion of me researching and looking for some of these causes. I was able to work and learn from a lot of doctors who I feel like are kind of out there, outside the box. And one of those teachers showed me the NET master chart, which is basically information that the Eastern world has known for thousands of years. And this is that emotions do affect us physically. And these emotions can become trapped in different organs and glands. So the technology that we work with today does identify other types of emotions and how those can be trapped in many different areas. But I believe now, after doing this work for many years, that emotions are a major factor in our physical health,
I
and
love it.
oftentimes that's being overlooked. This could very well cause a vibration to decrease, whether it's specific to the organ or gland that has a high concentration of these emotions, or just in the being as a whole. And at that point, it's possible that maybe we're more susceptible to bacterial infections or parasites colonizing, and maybe even to the point of infestation. And I believe that's because our immune system has become suppressed, dealing with all the stress, and that comes in many different forms, not just the typical forms of stress that people tend to think of. But another really great chart that we share is the map of consciousness, which also shows that shame and guilt, right, are the
Mhm.
heaviest and put the most weight on our vibrational being. And INSO, I think, also has a direct effect with our immune response and our ability to fight off microorganisms. And then next would be, right, how healthy is our intestine, our colon, our gut. And that's a major portion of our immune response, our microbiome, and how that is also related to our brain.
Mm.
And so there's really, you can't say too much about how important the health of our colon really is on so many different levels.
Wow. Yeah, and we heard from Kenya, our hydrocolon therapist, sharing about that too. So I just keep hearing it over and over: the colon, the colon, the colon. So I'm sure that there's ways that you do techniques, assessments that you use to identify these root causes. What's some of the tools that you use to identify these root causes that are causing health issues?
Well, now we're using the Dodana Optimizer. That's our foundational cornerstone technology that we're using. Yes, so the Nidana Optimizer, it's capable of detecting the pathologies, microorganisms, parasites, emotions, heavy metals, allergens, and toxins. So this gives us a great baseline or starting point that can begin the conversation or the awareness. It's a great
Mhm.
tool to create awareness for the client or whoever is receiving the diagnostic, the bioanalysis diagnostic, because really and truly, without each of us having the awareness of these different forms of
Mhm.
congestion and stagnation, that's creating the equation, which I believe is like a matrix. So A plus B plus C, D, E, F, all of these different factors for each individual creates a certain symptomology. And some of those factors might be the same and create similar symptoms in some, but as that becomes more complex, and everyone's intake of certain toxins is different, right? So some people are more sensitive to sugar and mold, but really none of us should be exposed to those things. However, it can take longer for something like mold to affect someone to the point of disease versus someone who's more sensitive to it. And so the Nadana Optimizer is a great tool that we use to basically streamline the process and give each person the awareness of to know if they're being exposed to mold or they have a high concentration of parasites, they've got a high concentration of bacteria, and it could be all of these different factors that's inside the body at different loads, and then that's causing a certain symptomology for them. So that would be our main tool that we
Okay.
use. I would say the next thing would be probably different types of muscle testing and just conversation, I think, because even once the awareness takes place, there is it's necessary for education and the client to really engage themselves in the process of knowing how their body works and what they can do about reversing those conditions.
Great. That's great. And then, so, we're not, I won't go into all the details of how the optimizer works, but if you'd like to know more about it, definitely go to I'm going to leave this up here, nadanawellness.com, because there's a whole page just talking about the optimizer and all that it does to find those root causes that are going on. That's so cool. So cool. Um, so, you've been talking about, the emotional, the mind body connection. So how do you incorporate the mind body connection in the healing practices? And why is it important to do that?
That's a pretty big topic. So that I think that goes back to the education portion. So everyone is kind of in different areas of this journey. And as we all learn more about how that works, because the mind has a couple different levels, right, that it's operating on, the subconscious and the conscious mind. We have learned a lot about that recently through concept therapy, which I'm enjoying learning about, and I think that gives a lot of great insight. So the fact that we can meditate, we can go into nature, we can find peace and really start to bring our nervous system into a parasympathetic state is very helpful. But sometimes it's good to become aware too of just how stressful our environment is.
Mm.
And I think that it's really important to unplug from that, probably as often as possible.
Probably more so than we do here in the US. More than
Yeah.
5 minutes in your day.
Yes, I think that that's definitely something that I learned moving to Costa Rica, seeing a different culture and kind of how they go through their day. Um, Even other, I think, Latin cultures and even probably Asian cultures too, just the amount of time that they take to relax when they're having lunch maybe outside, listening to the birds, being in a parasympathetic state when you're digesting your food. I mean, these seem like small details in a rush society, but again, cumulative as that
Yeah,
accumulates over time, that each day that stress just keeps compounding and compounding, and we're digesting less and less of our food, and then less nutrients are making it to the cells, and so in 6 months we could be suffering consequences from that. And so, if we are able to unplug and go to a really relaxed environment and immerse ourselves in nature, I definitely think that it's highly needed as soon as possible for anyone in their life that hasn't experienced that, because there is something that happens when we connect with nature, that we start to connect with ourselves. And for each one of us, I don't know what the day amount is or how long it takes. It might be 5 days, it might be 7, 14, 30, but at
mhm,
some point there's a shift, and that is when we really begin to realize or have had time to analyze or relax enough that we begin a new focus about what might be important to us moving forward, and how we can manifest different things in our health.
that's great, yeah. So something so important to remember because our mind is very important to the healing of our body, is what I'm hearing you say, and renewing our mind and de-stressing and getting away from everything is very important to all the healing
Yeah,
that our
the
body.
reason I'm saying like so much in nature with the mind is because our mind oftentimes is having so many different thoughts, and there's so
Mm,
many different factors in a rush society.
yeah,
So we're going from here, we're going over there, we're thinking about this, we're doing that, and it really takes a long time to decompress and let all of that kind of set to the side for a little bit while we focus and connect more to ourselves.
yeah, and be in tune with ourselves.
Mhm. And it's kind of like getting the mind out of the way a little bit to do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Not thinking so much. Turn off the brain and just relax.
Yes.
So could you share maybe one success story that you've seen in addressing root cause symptoms that led to some significant improvements in someone's life?
Sure.
I know
I
you have
would,
a ton of them, but if you can think of one that.
yeah, I mean, I can think of one like really recently we had with somebody who had SIBO and been struggling with this for years, all different types of discomfort and digestive issues. So really, within, I would say, not it probably wasn't even quite 2 months that they received some of the best test results, conventional testing even, that they had in 20 years.
Wow.
Not to mention more energy, more clarity, more creativity, just overall better well-being with their mood. And so I think that that's a pretty huge success story because it happened really quickly. Now, they did continue the process, right, for a few more months after that, which is definitely recommended because you want to go through the whole process. That way, you don't have those symptoms just rush right back. But typically speaking, I would say a lot of people do see success within the first month or so. But again, then it can get a little difficult or hit a plateau, and then after that, have a huge increase. So that was the first one I could think of off the top of my head. But yeah, we have quite a few success
Yeah,
stories.
I love that. So what would you say, are some of the challenges that you've faced with um, just working with the clients, just to have them adopt a root cause approach? Like what have you how have you helped them overcome or see that what they're doing to their bodies is not helping?
Well, that's an interesting question. So many different people have a different journey, and I call it that because a person can do really well, and then for whatever reasons they might fall off of the process for a little bit. And I think that that's just kind of how all of us learn, and so that's just a cycle we all go through. So it is, we're always here to answer questions, and if people are having a rough time, I'm always available for them to reach out, and happy to share my advice. And a lot of that comes from my personal experience of having different health issues over the years, and then going through a process to eliminate that. And again, I can use Costa Rica as a great example, because when I first arrived, it takes time to acclimate to a lot of the new pathogens and parasites that exist here. And I would run around the jungle quite a bit. Sometimes I would get cut and in contact with different pretty potent microorganisms. And so again, just going through that myself, and have to stay on course for several months after that, using these molecules and herbs and processes that we shared today, to know that if we stick with it and if we stay consistent, we can overcome a lot of different dysfunctions or even diseases. And so I typically try to connect with clients on that level of like, I've been through a lot of this before. And even if I haven't experienced something exactly like they're experiencing, I do believe that the body will heal itself if we just stay consistent and stay in the process.
Right. Yeah, and it's crazy that it's just so simple. I wish I would have known these things before I went to nursing school, because it is really simple. The body will heal itself if you give it the right environment. It will heal itself. So how do you see the future of holistic health evolving um, versus, conventional healthcare practices? Do you see that it's growing, it's staying about the same? Like what do you see with the future of holistic?
Oh, I definitely think that the old model, especially when it comes to chronic disease and dysfunction, is going to have to change. Most people agree it's the conventional method. It doesn't work too well for that. And so this space now that we're moving into holistic care is going to grow, and it's going to evolve. And I do believe we're definitely a major part of that movement, maybe even pioneers. And so I'm really excited for what's to come, to get this technology in the hands of more individuals, and for people to have this experience where they can access a technology that gives them so much awareness about what's happening inside of their body, and then speak to experts like ourselves. So I'm glad you did go to nursing school, because you actually know quite a bit about the body, how it works. And I do believe nurses have a really good heart to help people.
Mhm.
So I think that more nurses actually will probably shift into this space and create that care and the time that it takes to share with a client to help them in the process. And I think the new model is going to look more like that, where it's education based and it's
Mhm.
a process, and we're kind of like all sharing that process together and helping
Mhm.
each other uh, to better versions of ourselves, which includes improved health and performance.
Yeah. And I already see that shifting in a lot of nursing groups that I'm involved with them becoming more of a holistic health coach than working in the traditional medical field, because they see, I mean, that's, what we got into it for, was to help people heal. And we do that through education and listening. So, yeah. And I love that we're able to do that in Nidana Wellness.
Mhm.
What are there any? Well, you mentioned the colon health book, which I'll post the link to that again here in this description. We've posted it there before. Are there any other websites or tools that you recommend for people that are interested in starting their healing journey? I know you have a project just starting, and maybe if you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we have a project starting the Nidana Gut Reset. So this is going to be very educational. It's going to be module based, somewhat virtual as far as people can access these modules and go through the course in their free time, and then we can get together once a week and do Q&As. So I think that that's going to be an excellent program for people to tune into, and it's a great way to get started. Really, it doesn't matter what process they're in, as far as if they've already done a few things improving their health and they're just ready to come back and recalibrate, right, or reset. So or if they haven't been feeling good for many years and they're in a chronic condition, this is still a great place to start, always with the gut and elimination pathways. So it's going to be very easy to access and to chat with us. So I'm very excited about that launching soon.
Yes, me too. So if you, I'm gonna in the link, I'm gonna put the link in the episode description for our where he and I are partnering on a master class, a GI master class, this Tuesday night, January 14th at 8 p.m. Central Time. And I'll put the link so that you can register. You just need to put your email so that you can register for the jump on, and you can find out all about what it's going to be. Just learn more about the gut and how important it is and how you can heal. Um, well, what we're wrap it up here with just if is there anything else that you it's on your heart, just in your mind to share with our listeners?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again because I do think that it's really helpful. That's why we have the two charts in the office, the NET Masters chart and the map of consciousness. Um, it's a great place for people to actually get exposed to this idea of vibration and frequency and energy, and really tie that into our physical body. So we'll do more with tying that into actual gut health. But I think it's very interesting and something people could go check out now to learn a little bit more about this world that we work in and live in, with the holistic health that we're sharing.
I love it. Okay, well, I always have my guests enter my people that I interview, my guests that come on, leave everybody with one tip that they can implement today. They can just get off here and go implement it. What's one simple tip that you could leave our listeners with to help them start or continue their health journey that they could implement today? What would be one thing?
So I think it would be looking at eliminating something.
Mm,
So if there's something that we know for sure is a little bit excessive or has created um, what we know for sure is creating some type of stress or stagnation, just something that we know we're probably doing too much of, if we would consider maybe actually subtracting that
mm,
from our lifestyle. And I think that most of us probably have a list of things, but if we could just pick one to focus on, that'd be a great start.
I love that. Well, thank you for being my guest today. Again, if you want more information on what Nidana Wellness is doing and the impact that they're having on health, or how you can start your health journey with them, go to nidanawellness.com, and there's a information there where you can have a free discovery call and find out more information about how they can help you on your health journey. Well, I'm Ashley Rangel with From the Inside Out. Again, Seth, thanks for joining me
Thanks
today.
for
And
having me.
yes, where we're helping you feel better on the inside so you can shine on the outside. Y'all have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.